Hi y'all, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com, and today I am here with a fun and easy sewing project that fits into that organization theme that I currently have going on. This is a drawstring bag that has 4 little slip pockets inside. I personally designed this to hold my felt tip markers that I use with my planner. And I like to keep those all together and then just toss this inside my bag. You could use this for a variety of purposes. Another option would be to add pockets along the outside, and that could be super cute as well. So shall we get started? Okay, so to begin, we're going to start by crafting the interior pocket, which will allow you to divide and sort the contents. And that is made from a piece of cotton fabric that measures 11 inches across by 10 inches tall. I took the long edges and I pressed those over about 1/2 inch. Then I folded that in half and staggered that top lip slightly, and then press that in fourths. So I have some press lines to divide those into individual pockets. To begin, I'm just going to stitch right across that staggered lip. And then the interior and exterior body panels are crafted from an 11 by 8.25 inch piece, which I also pressed in quarters, and then I'm just going to stitch down those press lines so that I have those as guides. Okay, so now you want to take your pocket panel and position that on the body panel with the quarter markers. Align those quarter marks on your pockets with those on the body panel. I'm coming up 1 1/4 inches from the base of that. Going to pin the pocket in place and then divide the pocket on those quarter stitch lines and attach it across the base. Okay, then I'm going to fold that panel with the pockets in half and stitch using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance down that raw edge. I want to show you how to craft the base of this, which is a rounded square. So this square is 4.25 inches wide. I have 2 of them because one is for the exterior, which I have already assembled here. So take that square and press it also in quarters and then stitch in those markers. And then just fold that in half right on your stitch line. And you can cut both pieces at the same time. And you're just going to very slightly angle each corner. So once you get 2 of the corners done, just fold that in half and use that as your template for the other side, and then you have this pattern that you can use to craft your remaining base for the exterior, but just slightly rounded there. So I have my pre-cut piece that matches the corners I rounded for the first one. I'm going to stitch in those press lines, and then I will take that and align the press lines of the base with the press lines of the actual cylinder. So again, these stitch lines are making this really easy to quarter off this base and keep everything aligned. So even though it's tempting to skip that part in the process, it really will eliminate any frustrations that you might have aligning this. Okay, so on each quarter you're going to have just a little extra. Go ahead and bring that together and press it over to create a little pleat, and then pin your pleat right at the center point in between the 2 quarter marks. And it doesn't matter which way you fold the pleat. I happen to be folding mine under. And that's what it looks like. Then you put that on the machine using the same 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and attach the base to the body. And then I want to take that seam and open that up and fold that top edge over 3/4 of an inch. And you can press this all in place if you like. Inside I have my 4 pockets. Now I've pre-crafted the exterior. The only difference is there's no pockets, but it would be super cute with pockets too, so keep that in mind. I used 1 layer of the Pellon 808 or 809, and then I took the base of that and pushed it up into that to create a concave base, and then just stitched all the way around, and the purpose of that was to allow it to stand on its own. So now I just want to insert that interior into that exterior, align that side seam, and then pin everything in place. Then I'm going to run a narrow row of stitching across that top lip, and then I'm going to bump down a 1/2 inch and run a secondary row of stitching. When I reach the seam for both of these rows of stitching, I'm going to back stitch a couple times over that seam. This won't fit up on the neck of my machine, so I just have to tuck that underside under and then work very slowly. Now first seam is in place. Now I'm going to bump down a 1/2 inch and sew that secondary seam. Actual body of the piece is complete, and what I want to do is take my seam ripper and come in and open up that seam between those 2 stitch lines just really gently, and I'm only opening the exterior seam. With that Pellon and that back stitching that we did, this will remain nice and secure. So I'm just opening that enough that I'll be able to slip the drawstring through there, and it is reinforced again with that back stitching. It's very important. The drawstring measures 2 by 22. It's crafted in the typical Sewspire strap method, folding that in half, pressing, opening that up, bringing the press lines in on the center and pressing one more time. I'm just going to stitch all the way down that open edge. And then using a large safety pin, I'm going to thread that through this gusset here, beginning at that opening. It is done. I did take the ends there and I knotted them together to prevent that drawstring from coming out. And then the way it works is just like that. You can use this obviously for a variety of things. I designed it to organize all of my felt tip markers, but it's really as a multi-purpose container, and it would be fun to make this out of different materials. The Pellon that I used is gonna naturally wrinkle up here, so you might want to consider using quilt batting if you don't like that look. And then the inverted base allows that to stand on its own. That is optional. If you don't want to add that additional step, you don't need to do that. So I hope you enjoyed the project. It was an absolute pleasure to sew with you, and I will be back next week with another inspired project. Until then, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. Have a beautiful week, everyone.